Hello, everybody. This is a really special video because it's the first video ever on Tony the Mole Adams' YouTube channel. I want to thank people who've already followed us without a single video on there. There's some old rugby league stuff up there to keep you entertained, which no one watches. But hopefully some people watch this. And even though my name's Steve Mascord and I am Tony's co-host in the weekly show Moley and Mascy, his name's first because he's got more followers than me. But on this occasion, we're going to just basically I'm going to be like Arthur Beetson. I'm just going to offload, and he's going to do all the fancy stuff because it's his video, it's his channel, and State of Origin is coming up, as I'm sure you'd all be aware unless you're living under a rock. And the big question about State of Origin is the fate of the Blues coach, Brad Fittler. Will he still be coach next year? Would a win save his job, or does it make no difference? Is he already a dead man walking? So. Without further ado, we'll hand over to Tony, who is the owner and host and impresario behind this channel, and we'll get his thoughts on that issue. Tony, looking forward to the match.
Yeah, certainly am, Steve. I mean, it's a dead rubber, but as a few people have been pointing out during the week, it's not a dead rubber for someone like Bradman Best. I mean, he's making his debut. You know, he'll be pumped up for the game of his life. There's a few other guys got a point to prove, and of course for Brad Fittler it's anything but a dead rubber, because he really needs to win this game. I think that if it's 3-0, I think that's see you later, Freddie. He's extremely popular in New South Wales. He's well thought of by the hierarchy, by the officials who are going to be making this big decision on his future. But the bottom line is he's lost 3 series out of 4. I think if he can get this game up at home in Sydney, finish the series with a feel-good win, send 50 to 70,000 people home happy, and all the viewers in Sydney, he might be a chance of hanging on to this job. I actually wrote a piece a couple of weeks ago saying that the Blues do want to keep him, but they feel he needs a little bit of help, and perhaps a mentor, someone like the name I got tossed up was Brian Smith, who, of course, coach of vast experience. He's up there with Wayne Bennett and Tim Sheens for games coach. Started back in the 80s with your beloved Illawarra Steelers, Steve, and then went on to coach St George to 2 grand finals, Parramatta to a grand final. Was last seen driving Ubers in Brisbane, but has retained a close connection to the game. His son Rowan is, of course, coaching in Leeds. I was just talking to him a few minutes ago, and I've known Rowan since he was a little boy, so makes me feel very old. But yeah, look, if Freddie can win this game and win it well and set some sort of platform for the future, he might not be a dead coach walking. But I think 3-0, and yeah, the Blues will be looking for someone else for sure.
Yes, obviously, I was just talking to Rowan recently too, but good. It was a big day on Sunday in England because Hull, which is Hull FC, which is Tony Smith's club, and Leeds, which is Rowan Smith's club, they both had wins over the only 2 games on Sunday. Now, you know, when the New South Wales Rugby League make decisions like this, let's say they do try to bring on Brian Smith as a coaching coordinator, and our good mutual friend Scott Dunn actually ran into Brian Smith over the summer at a service station in the Northern Rivers, and they talked about the old days of us going to Steelers training as little kids. But if they hello to Scott if you're watching. If they were to bring in someone like that, whose approval do they need? Is it just the board of the New South Wales Rugby League? I mean, do they measure the public reaction? You know, if it's in the paper, or the reaction to this video, people comment below on this video and they go, "That's a terrible idea." Do they care? Do they need a bit of public support?
Steve, I think they're like board members of rugby league clubs. When a club like say for instance the Dragons has been going terribly, and they get pressure from their mates, from the media. And lo and behold, after loss after loss, they got rid of Anthony Griffin, and you know, they basically took action. And I think a lot of that is definitely media driven, is public driven. But the thing about this job, let's not forget the next New South Wales game is not till May 2024. So they're not going to be rushed into a decision. They're not going to come out after Wednesday night if the Blues win and say, yeah, Freddie's got the job, or if they get beaten, they're not going to say that it's all over, we're looking for a new coach. I think they're going to have a good hard think about it. They'll talk to the players, probably talk to Freddie, see what his thoughts are, talk to other people in the game, and basically talk to their stakeholders. And I don't expect a decision before Christmas. There's absolutely no rush, and I think they'll just wait and see how the dominoes all fall and take it from there.
What about other members of the coaching setup, Tony? Like, are their jobs in any sort of jeopardy?
Well, Freddie's right-hand man, of course, is Greg Alexander, and I think it goes without saying if Freddie goes, then Brandy will go too. And it's actually been one of the criticisms of their situation, their setup, shall we say, that they're too Penrith-centric. Of course, they're both Penrith boys. They both grew up Penrith fans. They both played their best football for Penrith, although Freddie, of course, had a great career at the Roosters. They both won premierships at Penrith. So, and naturally, they've picked a lot of Penrith players. Now, some of these Penrith players haven't aimed up. There's been talk that maybe they picked the wrong Penrith players, that the fullback Edwards should have got a game. So, yeah, there's a lot to weigh up, but that will be one thing they'll be talking about for sure. There's 6 Penrith players there, and they haven't quite all risen to the occasion. So, maybe they think they need a coach with less affiliation to one club, shall we say.
Yeah, this isn't a full episode. We're back on Friday morning for our Australian viewers, late on Thursday night for those in the Northern Hemisphere. So we won't let this episode go too long. We're just talking about Origin and Brad Fittler's future here. But don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the alerts. So, Tony, give us a tip for the game. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think the Blues, I like this team more than the team in game 2. I didn't think Ukamanu, the young Tigers prop, was ready. I think Bradman Best is a good selection in the centres. He scored 3 tries in his last game, then had a bye last weekend, so he'll be nice and fresh. And he's the sort of tough, aggressive player that Queensland have been picking. And I'm really looking forward to see how he handles it. At home, I think the Blues, they'll come close, but I think Queensland will probably, they've just got too many class players, too many form players, and so I think Queensland will wrap it up. They've got the momentum, they've got the form, they've got the confidence. I think it'll be 3-0 Queensland.
Yeah, Tony, I think it'll be a much closer game, and it might even be a bit of a cliffhanger going into the last 10 minutes, but I think that Queensland just a little bit too much class. Thanks for joining us. Great to be off the mark on your new YouTube channel, Tony.
Yeah, and I do have a little bit of news for fans in both Australia and England. Lachlan Fitzgibbon, who I wrote a few weeks ago, was going from the Knights to Warrington. That became official a couple of days ago. I can tell you that Warrington have asked the Knights if they could have him now, because they're in a bit of a precarious position in the battle for final spots in the UK in Super League. But the Knights have knocked back the approach, because the Knights think they're still a bit of a chance for the finals. And you look at the table, they had a big win over the Bulldogs a couple of weeks ago. Then they had the bye. They're suddenly a win out of the 8. So, the Knights rate Lachlan Fitzgibbon, and they've said no, they want to keep him, and so he'll be staying with them. And who knows, the Knights could make a late rally in the next few weeks.
Good story there, Tony. We'll see you. See all the viewers again at the end of the week.